are watching 32 teams in 32 days on the Game Time Sports Network.
A little late tonight, but I mean, hey, it's okay. It's a great day, sports world. What's up to all the sports lovers, the haters, the addicts, and the fanatics out there? This is Larry Patterson for GT365. That's Game Time 365 Sports right here on the GTSN. That's the Game Time Sports Network. We're here in the Who Dat Nation, talking a little New Orleans Saints football. I got one of the biggest New Orleans Saints football fans here, and Mr. Coach K of the Lincoln Middle School Jaguars football team. Last year, you were at Halifax Middle School last year. Uh, you went 7-1, and you won the Junior Piedmont District Champs. And then, you going over to Lincoln this year. First of all, how you doing today, brother?
Doing good, man. Can't complain. Matter of fact, I'm just getting out of a practice. We're getting ready for a 7-on-7 against EC Glass JV against EC Glass JV football team on Thursday. So everything going good. Like I said, just getting out of practice and trying to get things right, man. Trying to get the organization right.
Now, Coach, you know how I do. I'm gonna ask you, how was practice, man?
If you would have asked me that yesterday, I would have told you the truth. Man, yesterday was just one of those days where we was going through the motion. Yesterday, it had to be on the side of the ball that I play call and everything on the offensive side of the ball. So, uh, yesterday was just one of those days where we were just going through the motion. But today was a defensive day, and we end up having a better showing, better outing, and we actually had a good practice today. Very good practice.
Now, you make the move to Lincoln just after 1 year at Halifax. Uh, what sparked the move?
Um, to be honest, I've been coaching for 11 years now, and
Oh, good. We lost Coach K for a minute. Hopefully, he'll be back. But until then, we're gonna talk about the New Orleans Saints today. So, New Orleans ended the season 5-12, 2-4 in the NFC South. Started the season 2-0 with wins against Carolina 47-10 and beat Dallas 44-19. Those are very big, huge wins right there. I got Coach back. What's up, Coach?
hey, my
Got you
fault,
back.
man. Yeah.
Yeah. So back to the question of what sparked the move to Lincoln.
To be honest, I've been coaching for 11 years. The job actually opened up last year when I was going to Halifax County Middle School, and I was inquiring about the job and everything. And it was just one of them things where I was inquiring about it, and I said, should I apply for this? And I didn't. And after Coach Halifax went 7-1, won the Piedmont District Championship, it opened back up again. So I think that was God's way of saying, Coach K, it's time for you to run your own program. I've put you through the journey of being an assistant coach. Uh, Now let's see what you got as a head coach. So that was the biggest spark, biggest movement that I was excited about. So went through the interview. I think the interview pool had about six candidates, and out of the six candidates, my name came out the hat, and they moved forward with me as the new head football coach.
Well, congratulations to you, brother.
Appreciate it.
You,
Appreciate
you
it.
taking over a Lincoln team that went 3-6 last year, though they did win the City of Lynchburg championship in 2023. What's your hopes and expectations this season coming in?
Well, to be honest, I told them the other. Well, I've been telling them all summer or spring. We even had spring practice. I've been telling them the three most important wins is your home opener, your homecoming game, and your senior night, your eighth grade night. I told them those are the three most important wins that you must win. So, mainly what I've been preaching lately is take care of the little things. Once you take care of the little things, and I'm talking about little things as in picking up, clean up behind yourselves and locking your lock on the locker. Tying your shoes when you going through a football drill, picking up a water bottle that one of your teammates or one of the community members left on the sidewalk, taking care of the little things. Once you take care of the little things and move forward with the little things, the big things will take care of itself. And this was a team that's been missing love and care. So I learned this from Coach Larry White. I tell them every day before we leave practice. I always end it with "I love you guys," and they always respond, "I love you too, Coach." So um, we love and care for them over at Linkhorn. Um, like I said, I'm excited. When I got the job, I was ready to practice with them. But now since we've been practicing, I'm ready to start the games just to see what we're gonna do.
That's right, dead period over now. It's
Yeah.
time to get the cleats on and then get to work.
Yes, sir.
Um,
Sir.
so shout out to the Lincoln Jaguars from Game Time Sports Network. So
Appreciate that.
good
Appreciate
luck
that.
on the season this year, Coach.
Appreciate.
Let's get into these New Orleans Saints here, man.
Yeah, man. Who that?
As I was saying before, you got kicked off there. They went 5-12 on the year, 2-4 in the division. Started the season 2-0 with wins, big wins against
Yeah.
Carolina 47-10, beat Dallas 44-19, and then you lost seven in a row. Then two in a row after your bye week. And then you ended the season 1-5, missed the playoffs for a fourth straight year in a row. I want to ask you, as a Saints fan that's watching this team close, how did the last? I know last season didn't go the way that you wanted it to go, but how was last season for you?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. The first two wins, um, was amazing. I remember watching both of those games. I remember beating the Cowboys the way we did. Um, and I was sitting in the living room watching the game with some Cowboy fans, and it was just amazing. Like, I'm not gonna say I thought we were Super Bowl bound, but I was like, you know, we finally get on the right track to get back to winning ways. I was just excited about that. Then after we won the first two, it was like, oh snap, here we go again. We back to the same old Saints. I mean, to drop that many games um and then we go into the bye week and we drop. I mean, it was just last year was just it should have been better. Um, I mean, no, and I hope I don't say nothing wrong, but I knew that after Sean Payton, which is my guy, that's my all-time favorite coach. Love Sean Payton. That's my guy. So y'all got to
He's in
steal
a
with that
great
in
place
Denver.
right now, by the way.
Yeah, great place. And I told you, I said, give Sean Payton some time. He gonna turn it around, which he's doing. But I just didn't think Dennis Allen was the right guy. Now Dennis Allen is a great defensive coordinator. He just not that head coach type guy. And when he brought Derek Carr over, the only thing I could think of was them two back in the Oakland Raiders back in 2014, I believe. And Dennis Allen ended up getting fired there mid-season. So um, yeah, I just knew that after starting 2-0, I felt like Dennis Allen had his job secure, but after he dropped like seven in a row, dropped seven in a row last year, I knew that Miss Benson and Mickey Loomis, and up the front office, I knew they was ready for a change in the head coach department.
Oh, you was ready for a change early in the
Yeah, I
season too.
was. I'm not gonna lie. I was because, like I said, I just never thought Dennis Allen was the right recipe after Sean Payton. Um, you know, after Sean Payton, before Dennis Allen got the job, I mean, we had Eric Bellinamy. I can't pronounce his name, but
The
he
enemy.
spent yeah, he spent like 9 hours in New Orleans with the front office, and when I read that report, I really felt like, man, he was going to be the guy after what he done with Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City. But we ended up going with Dennis Allen. They kept it in house, which it's nothing wrong with keeping a coaching change in house. But I just felt like Dennis Allen want the right guys. So I'm very excited about this new era. I can't wait. I'm very excited.
All right, we got my man Amon here. Amon, this is
Hey,
Coach
what's up,
K.
man?
What's
How
going
you
on,
doing?
boss man? How y'all doing?
Doing good, doing good.
Nice of you to join us, my brother.
Yeah, sorry about the tardiness, man. I'm
No,
here now.
you good, man. You gotta take care of business, man. So, Coach, this team was ranked overall 21st in offense, 30th in defense. In the pass game, ranked 23rd in offense, 27th in defense. In the run game, ranked 14th on offense and ranked 31st in defense. Um, and then just to go through a little bit of what you guys went through last year, Derek Carr, he played 10 games. Of course, you know he's retired now. 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 2,145 yards. So obviously, you know, he's not the answer now. Spencer Rattler came through with 1,317 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. You're high on Spencer Rattler, and you got you a new coach coming in. Tell me, not a new coach. You a new quarterback coming in. Why are you so high on Spencer Rattler?
I'm going to say this. Um, and I'm going to mix in all. I'm going to mix in Kellen Moore, Sean Payton, and Dennis Allen. I felt like I feel like Spencer Rattler do got some hidden gems that a guy like Sean Payton could bring out of him. I felt like Dennis Allen couldn't bring it out of him because Derek Carr is his guy, and it's nothing wrong with. I mean, I coach football. I have my guy quarterback, that type of thing. It's nothing wrong with having your guy, but at the same time, you got to think about. I always preach to my quarterbacks, the second string got to be just as good as QB1. That's how I preach it. And I just felt like Dennis Allen was so locked in with Derek Carr that his quarterback coach and his offensive staff didn't quite develop the next guy. And I say that to say this because when Jameis Winston was there under Sean Payton, Jameis Winston and the Saints were 5-2 before he got injured against Tampa Bay. That's when Tom Brady was in Tampa Bay. We was winning against Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I
Jameis,
remember he was playing well.
yeah, he was playing good, and that was Sean Payton brought out hidden gems from Jameis that Bruce Arians didn't bring out him. Bruce Arians and Brian Leftwich didn't bring out when he was down in Tampa Bay. So I felt like Sean Payton is really the quarterback whisperer, and he brought out so many talents. So when Dennis Allen became the head coach, he kind of, I'm not gonna say shoved, but he kind of moved Jameis Winston out the way and released him, trade him. I forgot what happened there. I think he released him. So you released him, bring in Derek Carr, and Derek Carr couldn't get the wins for you either. I mean, you went 7-9, 7-10. You know, um, I just felt like, and now with Kellen Moore, which I'm so excited about, which I kind of figured New Orleans was going to go that route after reports of they weren't going to make a hire to after the Super Bowl. So I feel like Kellen Moore is going to be creative in his offense. I think he's going to be of course, him and Sean Payton is different, but I think in his offensive scheme, I think he's going to be a little bit more creative than Sean Payton. He might be the younger version of Sean Payton when Sean Payton was coaching with Philadelphia and New York. So I think that's the version we're going to get out of Kellen Moore is that creative, younger Sean Payton in Kellen Moore. And I feel like that in Kellen Moore, he's going to focus more on the run game, which is going to take a lot of pressure off of Spencer Rattler or the rookie quarterback TS. I can't
Tyler
pronounce it.
Shuck.
Yeah, that's going to take off a lot of pressure for him. But I just feel like Spencer. I just feel like if I was in Kellen Moore's shoes, I think his gut is telling him that Spencer Rattler going to be the guy. Because and the only why I say that is because Tyler, he got, as they say, NFL is stand for not for long. Tyler, you don't want to throw him to the wolves that quick. Now he may be NFL ready. I mean, we would never know until that first game of the year. But I'm big on Spencer Rattler. I think Spencer Rattler just needed somebody like Kellen Moore and Sean Payton to bring out like, man, this guy can really ball. So
Amon, I want to get your thoughts on the Kellen Moore hire. Do you think New Orleans went in the right direction with it?
So here's my question to Coach K. And what you said elaborately about Kellen Moore and Dennis Allen. I agree with it for the most part. I know you guys said that. Well, I know New Orleans said that they wanted to wait till after the Super Bowl to hire a head coach. But knowing what you know now, and Kellen Moore is your head coach, is there another candidate that you could potentially have wanted before? Because remember, there were some candidates that turned down interviews with New Orleans. Aaron Glenn turned down, interviews.
well, I'm glad you said that. I did want Aaron Glenn. Once I found out that Aaron Glenn came from the Sean Payton coaching tree, so he was there under Sean Payton. I really wanted Aaron Glenn. I've read reports and I totally understand where he's coming from, and I know why he turned it down. He turned it down because he wanted a change in the GM because of Mickey Loomis. He already been under Mickey Loomis with Sean. He already know how Mickey Loomis operate. So he basically told Miss Benson, either Mickey Loomis step down or I just step out of the I just pull my name out of the hat. And I think that's where it went. Now, Mickey Loomis is okay, but it is time for a new GM. But who am I? I'm just a kid from Virginia.
Mickey Loomis been there he's been there forever, man.
Yeah,
I feel
he been there through the bag days.
Yeah,
So,
was he there like during Katrina when they won a Super Bowl? See, he's been there.
He been there since Katrina. He hired Sean Payton back in 2006. So
Gotcha.
he been there through the bag days, Sean Payton era, the Dennis Allen era, and now the Kellen Moore era. So
yeah. That was always, I know a couple Saints fans, but it's good to hear from a Saints guy that you don't communicate on a daily basis, because I know Kellen Moore was the guy that they targeted, but I was curious. I always wondered, hey, was there another guy that somebody potentially wanted? Aaron Glenn. I know Mike McCarthy had turned down interviews as well. So that type of coaches, I'm like, man, maybe.
And that's something I learned about Mike McCarthy. I didn't know he used to coach with the Saints back in the day, back in his early coaching year. He was a top candidate to be the head guy, which I did feel like that. Okay, Aaron Glenn didn't want the job because of Mickey Loomis. I did feel like, well, the two guys I want is Mike McCarthy or Kellen Moore. I really wanted Kellen Moore, but I said if we hire Mike McCarthy, I'd be okay with it because.
Understood.
I mean, look what he did with Aaron Rodgers during the Green Bay Packer days.
Understood. But yeah, man, like Mike McCarthy hire, but the Kellen Moore hire. You see what he did when he had a little run with Dallas, and then what he did when he with Philly. Man. So I mean, it's there to be had. And Larry, I don't mean to steal your shine or whatever the case may be. I know that y'all, when I came in on the conversation, you guys was talking about quarterbacks and how you prefer Spencer Rattler or Tyler Shuck, and and whatever the case may be. Larry, I don't know if you made it this far yet in your your questions or whatever the case may be for Coach K, but knowing what you know now, you have Spencer Rattler in the building, Tyler Shuck in the building as the second round pick, 40 overall last year in the second round. Knowing that, if we look down the road a little bit to next year, not saying that the Saints will, Larry, you know how I feel about the Saints. They're going to probably be picking high in the draft,
next year
if everything fails, Well, there's an OC on the Saints staff, and his son plays at LSU right now. So, how do you feel about Nussmeier potentially being the Saints quarterback with his dad being the OC next year, if that is a route that the Saints probably choose, if that is a route that they may have?
I'm gonna keep it simple. It's just time for us to find the right guy. We
Right.
hadn't had Breeze for so long. We had Breeze since 2006, and I mean Breeze, my favorite quarterback, have been phenomenal for us. I mean, just think about Breeze early years, 2006. He come in, they go to the NFC Championship game. You lose to the Chicago Bears, one game away from the Super Bowl. 2007, you have a rough year. I think they went like 7-9. 2008, you go 7-9. 2009, you win the Super Bowl. 2010, you go back to the playoffs. You face the Seattle Seahawks, and then the Marshawn Lynch run, and then at 2011. 2011, we had a great year. I can't remember. We went to the playoffs, but I can't remember what happened. Then 2012, Sean Payton gets suspended, get a year suspension. So the offense kind of took a step back because you don't have your original play caller there. Then 2013, we get Michael Thomas, Marshawn Lattimore. We get those guys, and we start bringing the energy back to New Orleans. And it's just no. I take that back. 2013. That was 2017. 2017, 2013, 14 was still mediocre years. 15 were mediocre, but those are years where Drew Brees had good numbers, but we didn't have a defense. We didn't. I mean, our defense was just bad. Then 2017, you bring in Michael Thomas, you got Alvin Kamara, you got Marshawn Lattimore. Then you start bringing the winning culture back, and then you have the Minneapolis Miracle where you lose to the Vikings, one game away from the NFC Championship game, and then it was just so many seasons where Drew Brees just have done everything for us. So now, since we passed the Drew Brees era, and I was listening to the press conference today between Mickey Loomis, and I didn't catch the Kellen Moore because I was at football practice, but Mickey Loomis, like he was saying, this is the first time that New Orleans have had a quarterback competition for QB1 since Breeze, because Breeze been the guy since 2006. So
Yeah.
I am excited about the quarterback competition. I hope Spencer Rattler wins, but if not, I hope Tyler Shaw or Shug or whatever his name is. I hope he can get the job done for us. But I really do think Kellen Moore is going to not put too much on the quarterback. I don't think we're going to see a quarterback though for. I don't think we're going to see a Saints quarterback though for 5,000 yards as much as Breeze did. I think we're going to see a quarterback. He might crack. He'll probably barely crack 4,000.
Right. Yeah. I just, Larry, I'm gonna let you go after this. I just wanted your opinion because Larry know me. I'm always looking down the road and who can be
Right.
that guy. Not to say that Tyler Shuck can't be that guy. He might come in and just win a starting job in camp, and then you may have something. You know what I'm saying? You got your next quarterback for the next 10, 15 years.
Right.
He plays as long as Drew Brees does. But yeah, it's curious to see hear your opinion. And like I said, Spencer Rattler, he did have some moments last year where he showed that.
Yeah, he really did.
Yeah, he really did have some moments that okay, all right, but then you see, okay, hey, he's young. You see the lapses there, and and it's a big transition, for the Saints going from having Drew Brees for Dagler. I hold 20 years, I hold 20s, and then to see him ride off in the sunset, and then you have to transition. And most teams don't transition, from having a Hall of Fame quarterback to another, not unless you're the Green Bay Packers or somebody like that. So, I'm definitely I think this camp battle is going to be one for the books for Saints fans. Hopefully, the best quarterback come out and win. But we all know if you're picking in the top 5 again next year, the chances are you're going to be looking for another signal caller. And I just don't know if Tyler Shuck can show enough this year. Like I say, he only controls so much. The record will be what it can be, but maybe he can show enough this year to say, "Hey guys, let's put a pause on the quarterback race or quarterback search in 2026 and give him another year." But Larry, I'm gonna let you go ahead and do your thing. I just had to get those questions off and ask the Saints fan, their perspective and how they feel about the situation going forward in 2025.
To piggyback on what you said about the camp battle, I think it's going to be a real one of the more interesting camp battles, position battles with the quarterback, because you got Spencer Rattler, who was drafted last year. Am I correct? So So he's still fresh, and then you have Tyler Shuck, who was drafted this year. So with Kellen Moore, who just coming off of a championship run.
Right, and then Kellen Moore picking his guy. It's not like Spencer Rattler was Kellen Moore's guy. Kellen Moore went in the draft and said, "Hey, I'm appointing you. You are the one I want." So naturally, you're gonna kind of like give the edge to Tyler, and to start off camp only because new regime, whatever. Hey, I'm Kellen Moore. I'm coming over from a Super Bowl champion. You want to repeat the success that I had in Philly? We're going to do things my way. And, he's going to have some say in some things. But, I do see, Tyler, getting a slight edge. But it wouldn't be surprised me, like I told Coach K, the way Spencer played in some games last year. Maybe they weren't winning games, games that they won. But he shows flashes in those quarters leading up to the end of the game. Okay, maybe there's something there. So I know it's definitely going to be interesting to see for sure. But Larry, you take the floor from the ball.
And let's not forget the hype was Shedeur. That's who. I mean, if we would have drafted him, I probably head over heels over him, and I felt like that could have been the guy. But I don't. Like I say, I don't know what happened on that situation.
We know what happened.
Me and Larry thought like if he got past, I don't know who was picking, like the Rams in the back end of the first round. I was like, if he get past the Rams, the next team that's up probably will be the Saints that needed a quarterback. So if he don't get picked at 40, where is he gonna go? And ultimately he ended up going in the 5th round. But I thought that was a Shedeur spot. I thought it was a Shedeur spot potentially in the first round at pick 9. If they didn't go my boy from Texas.
Well, I think the pick 9, it would have been him if one of our offensive line, I can't think of his name, one of our offensive line ended up retiring leading up to the draft.
Ryan Ramczyk.
So with Kellen Moore, he knew that damn, if he gonna retire, that's the first game I gotta build first. It's this O-line. And establish the O-line. So, just imagine if he didn't retire, that could have been Shedeur. I really do think that would have been his first start. But with him retiring, it was like, wait a minute. Let me get a lineman in here first.
Yeah, you got Talise Fuaga on the right side, and you're gonna have my boy Kelvin Banks on the left side. That's smart. That's smart. Yeah. But Larry, I'm good, Larry. Go ahead and do your thing, boss.
Alvin Kamara. Career rushing yards, 950. He had a career high in rushing yards with 950 off 228 attempts. 6 touchdowns. He rushed for 4.2 per. And then work in the receiving game. You know what he can do in the receiving game as well. 68 catches, 543 yards, 2 touchdowns. I question why. I mean, I don't question because, of course, he wanted money. But why come back to New Orleans? And Kamara is like what he's on his 9th year. Am I correct? Going on his 9th year?
Yeah.
I mean, he could have easily said, you know what? and I get it. He don't want to change cultures. He might be, got a lot of businesses tied up. You never
Right.
know what's going on down there. But I'm just curious, just wondering, like, why didn't you go anywhere else? You wanted to come back here and rebuild.
Um, to answer that, um, that's almost like a hard one, but I felt like I say this
Were you surprised at the extension? Put it that way.
in a way, no. Well, in a way, yeah, because I remember when they hired Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore wasn't Alvin Kamara choice of Pickens. His choice of Pickens was the special team coordinator that Denver just hired. Um, can't think of his name.
I know who you're talking about. I'm blanking on his name right now though.
Yeah,
Rizzy.
yeah, Rizzy. So that was Alvin Kamara to take over as head coach. And number one, I'm glad New Orleans didn't do that because I guess they realized that they already knew how in-house hires went. The reason why they got Kellen Moore went after Kellen Moore, but um, Alvin Kamara was not big on Kellen Moore. Um, and for some reason I don't know why because like you said, if you look over Kellen Moore's career as a play caller, his offensive numbers, especially in the run game, have been impressive, very impressive. So, um, but from my understanding, Alvin Kamara is starting to grow on Kellen Moore now. He's starting to like Kellen Moore now and feel like that he can do great in the offense. But I just felt like the reason I feel like the reason why he stayed is because the energy that Sean brought to New Orleans when Alvin Kamara came in 17 and how much energy Sean brought to the team and the city and the culture of New Orleans. I I think that just drew him in like this is where I want to be. I don't want to play for nobody else than New
Right.
Orleans.
I
And
I'm glad you said that because I feel like and we're going through a change with these players and player empowerment.
right,
Everybody wants to say, hey, you want to go chase a ring, and we know how it is in the NBA. You go, hey, Dane, go and get a super team, whatever the case may be. But
right,
sometimes, and I'm starting to hear this a lot more, and I kind of believe it. Go where you're celebrated. You know what I'm saying? Stay in New
yep,
Orleans. That's where you've been there since 2017. You've been there 8 years. You damn near your whole career, man. The city loves you, man. For
yep,
what you do for them, and
yep,
I think it was a no-brainer for him to stay and get an extension. And I also believe that, Larry, to answer your question as well, along with Coach K, I think the extension came through because, hey, we all know how the Saints cap situation is, and they had to get cap compliant by a certain day
right,
to
right,
meet the league's mandate. So in order to get cap compliant, you extend Kamara, you lower that cap number. You know what I mean? So and I think it was just a perfect marriage of hey, I've been in New Orleans for X amount of years. Everybody know me. The city loves me. It's a great culture here. I probably built my family here. I got kids here, whatever the case, girlfriend, whatever the case may be. This is, I don't want to uproot myself where I've been for 7, 8 years, go somewhere else, and then, probably regret the decision later on. And then, the Saints, we all know how the Mickey Loomis do the cap and how
yeah,
awful it is. And, they had to do something to get cap compliant and, giving Kamara a contract ain't the worst thing in the world. You got to have some kind of firepower and some kind of weaponry on offense, even though you don't got the weapons that you had of years past.
right, right.
Kamara led the team in receptions with 68. Next on the team was Jawan Johnson. Played 17, started 548, 3 touchdowns. Chris Olave, a big one
Mm,
here for the first 2 years. First 2 years, he received for over 1,000 yards, and then this past year, only 400 yards and playing in 8 games this year. What's the concern level going into this year with Chris Olave and the concussions there?
Um, yeah, I am concerned about that. But um, Me personally, you got to think about. I can't think who the OC was last year, but the year before that, when Dennis Allen first took over, the OC was Pete Carmichael, and
Clint Kubiak.
yeah, Clint Kubiak. Okay, so let's go to Pete Carmichael. Pete Carmichael was the OC under Dennis Allen his first, first 2 years, and we all got to think about this. Pete Carmichael didn't call no plays under Sean Payton.
Right.
Sean
Right.
Payton was the play caller. The
He
only
was
time
probably
Pete,
designing some stuff up.
yeah, he was the designer, but Sean called it. So, um, when Sean Payton got suspended, Pete Carmichael was the play caller during Sean Payton's suspension. So, number one, for Pete Carmichael, and I saw it firsthand, I didn't like it. For Pete Carmichael to call his first 2 seasons as the NFL play caller, it just didn't sit well for me because he was trying to do what Sean did, and you can't do what another play caller do. You have to do it your way. And then last year with Clint Kubiak, and he had flashes of doing calling some good games, but at the same time, between these two play callers, you had nobody. You had to rely on Chris Olave because you had nobody else to throw the ball to, and um, and Michael Thomas, who I wish Kellen Moore bring back because I really miss Michael Thomas. But Michael Thomas was trying to warn the Saints about Derek Carr not being a good quarterback and that type of thing, and how he. I think one game Michael Thomas was talking about how Derek Carr set Chris Olave up and ended up getting him injured. So um, I think Derek, and I'm not gonna say I think Derek Carr was just so locked in and trusted Chris Olave, which nothing is wrong with that. But at the same time, you can't throw him the ball. If you throw the ball 70 times a game, you can't throw to him. You can't throw to Chris Olave 60 times a game and then throw everybody else 10 times a game because now you wearing Chris Olave out. And I think the second year, Chris Olave, it was like teams were like, "Oh, I already know what you're gonna do. I already know what you're about. I'm picking up on your tendencies. I'm picking up on what you're doing, because that's all Derek Carr is looking for. He only looking for you. So I am concerned about that. But I think this year, um, Kellen Moore brought in some pieces on the offense. We brought in Brandon Cooks back. Brandon Cooks is back with us. He was back there. He was back with Saints. I want to say back in 2013-14 year. Um, we end up getting one of the Detroit Lions third string wide receivers to come. Kellen Moore picked up some pieces to help this offense, to help his style and do his and get his vision of how he want the offense to be in New Orleans. Um, so I am concerned about Chris Olave to see how he's gonna be, but I don't think that Chris Olave is going to be. He's going to be a big name, big target, but I don't think he's going to get his body worn down because I think Kellen Moore offense going to be so creative that you have to stretch the field and you will have to be able to guard everyone.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell
Uh,
you, I can write a whole book about Derek Carr. I mean, I'm there with you, brother. Man, you can have a whole 2, 3 hour, 4 hour, 5 hour conversation about that
Right.
brother in Christ right there, man. But I know all about him. But go ahead, Larry.
yeah, he a Raider fan, man. Yeah,
Oh, okay. All right.
uh, so Rashid Shaheed is another speedster.
Yes,
Take the
that's
top
the
off of defense.
God. Yeah.
He was injured. He was
Yep.
injured as well. No, what happened to him? I think it was something with his lower leg, or
I think it was like hamstring or something like that. But the thing was like the thing was when Chris Olave went down, then Shaheed was, you know, it was like boom. All right, well he down. Well, let me use him. It was just like Derek Carr didn't. he didn't spread the love like Breeze. I mean, when we had Breeze, I mean, you had, and I'm just gonna name some guys that you had Kenny Stills, you had Jimmy Graham, you had Jeremy Shockey, you had Marcus Colston, you had Michael Thomas, you had Denver Henderson, you had Robert Meacham, you had Lance Moore. I mean, Breeze was surrounded by talented wide receivers where he shared the love from tight end to slot to outside receiver to running back to fullback. I mean, it was just, but Derek Carr didn't do that. Derek Carr was just locked in on. It was almost like, oh, I don't fuck with you, so I'm not gonna throw you the ball. Pretty much, I
Yep.
think that's what you get out of Derek Carr. And I think Michael Thomas, and I think that's the reason why Dennis Allen got rid of Michael Thomas because Michael Thomas was, I mean, he was lashing out on Derek Carr, telling him that he need to straighten up and get right and be the guy for New Orleans. And Dennis Allen didn't like that, didn't like him going after his quarterback like that. So, he
Yeah,
was
he was. Yeah,
released. And,
he was on Twitter. I remember after one game, he was. I guess he was at home or whatever the case may be. He was like, "Yeah, man, Derek Carr, he out there throwing medicine balls." I think it was after Olave had
yep,
got another concussion or whatever the case may be. He was on
yep,
Twitter just letting them fingers fly, and I was like,
yep,
"Oh." He really,
yep,
it
yep,
legit. I mean, he had like a 10 tweet stretch where he was just going off
yep,
like on Derek Carr was like, "This what y'all want in New Orleans." That's why we always in the treatment room every Monday after the game, and I was
yep,
like,
yep,
"Man,"
yep,
I was like,
yep,
and I was
yep.
like, "Yeah." Once Michael Thomas wanted, that's Keyshawn Johnson's
Nephew.
nephew, so
Yeah,
they got they ain't gonna hold nothing back. They're gonna tell it like Ti is
right.
regardless. So I was like, yeah. Once he started out and lashing like that, I was like, yeah, he ain't gonna be there much longer, man. And it's kind of strange that he just disappeared out the league because I don't think I know he had some nagging injuries, but I don't think he did anything to where he couldn't get like a second shot with another team somewhere. He just
Right.
disappeared. He just disappeared out of the Saints organization altogether. But
Well, I did hear rumors that, and I don't know how true it is, but I did hear rumors. I think it was like last year. I think it was swirling last year, year before last. That no, it might have been last year. Um, it might have been last year when they got Bo Nix, not the Russell Wilson situation. That Sean Payton was interested in reuniting with Michael Thomas. So
oh God, the slant guard, I do not want him in the AFC West. Good
Yeah, I
God.
can't, and we are fine. We we are fine right now.
No, I seen you light up earlier when Coach K said that Sean Payton a quarterback whisper. I seen all your teeth come out your mouth too. Don't get all hype about that. Don't get all hype about that. But go ahead,
did you
hey,
brother.
look, hey, look. Let me, hey,
did you see
hey,
what
let
we
me, let me,
did?
let me, let me tell you, and I, I know this all about the Saints, but Sean Payton, my guy, I love Sean Payton. I told him, I said, man, y'all got a good one in Denver. I said, if y'all give Sean Payton time, he gonna turn it around. Now, I was not expecting for him and Russell to have. I did not. I mean, I got the video on my phone. I did not expect him to go off on Russell like that on national TV, but. And I remember when he did it, the report said he would never do Drew Brees like that. Well,
Never.
that is true, but the thing is, he didn't have to do that with Brees because him and Brees thought the same process. They was one step ahead of each other each time. So when he did that to Russell, and Coach Larry was like, I wouldn't say he was upset, but and he was feeling some type of way about it. I said, Coach, give Sean Payton time. He got to clean. He's still cleaning up Nathaniel Hackett mess. He still got
Absolutely.
to
Yeah.
clean that up. So once he cleaned it up, which I think he cleaned it up last year with the Bo Nix, and I think Bo Nix started playing well after what, the fifth game, Coach Larry? I
Yeah.
think it was after the fifth game. You started seeing a comparison of, oh shit, he playing just like Drew Brees. Like Sean
Oh,
Payton is coaching Drew Brees all over again. The only difference is he coaching Bo Nix as a rookie player that he never
yeah.
did with Drew Brees. So
Right. I think the whole this is my personal opinion on the whole Russell Wilson and Sean Payton situation. I think Sean Payton didn't like Russ's persona and how big it was.
Right.
Like he was always a distraction. It was reports out there, Larry, and I ain't mean to bash your Bronco. I know it's my Broncos episode. It was reports out there that Russ wanted his own corner office in the building, and he
Parking
wanted parking
spaces.
spaces. And Sean Payton, he's from the Bill Parcells Street. He ain't going for none of that nonsense. You'll come in
Yeah.
here, do your job, and that be it. And I think Russell's persona, Mr. Unlimited, all that kind of like rubbed him the wrong way. And for him, I guess when he backlashed that or outlashed that Russ like he did, that was
Yeah.
enough often for Russ then and there. And when I seen that, I think I called one of my homeboys. I was like, yeah, whatever he doing, he ain't playing no more this year. He's done. And lo and behold, the end of that season, they took a $35 million cap hit one year and got $35 million cap hit this year coming
Yeah,
up, and he'll be off the books. So I
yeah.
think his persona was maybe a little too big for Peyton, and Peyton, he's Bill Parcells through and through. So that was my little perspective on that.
Right.
And plus, before we got to get back on the Saints too, but
Yeah.
Russ was limited. He called himself Mr. Unlimited, but he was really limited. I mean, not throwing the ball over the middle of the field, just taking unnecessary sacks, holding on to the ball too long. And I felt like it was a marriage that should not have been there in the first place.
Yeah,
You
because
know
he
what I'm
was hating
saying?
anyway. So
Yeah. I did not like it. But going back to the Saints, we'll try to get you home, Coach. It's getting
Oh no,
dark out
you good.
there.
Hey, you good, man? Because I love football. I love talking to us. As you can see, I'm excited about the Kellen Moore era. I wasn't excited about. I wasn't. Even, I mean, last 2 years, I've been like, man, I'd rather watch Sean Payton coach than fucking New Orleans Saints. And we always hit. And I ain't gonna say always, but we had a few primetime games, and I didn't even watch the primetime games. I'd rather watch Sean Payton on Sunday. So I'm excited. So I don't mind talking about this. I love my Saints. I'm a Saints fan again. So
You got four former first round picks on that offensive line with Kelvin Banks Jr. that you drafted this year, ninth overall. Trevor Penning drafted in 2022, round one, pick 19. You got Cesar Ruiz picked in 2020, round one, pick 24, and then Talise Fuaga, you picked last year, pick 14. And then Eric McCoy picked in the second round.
right.
Um, Trevor Penning, this of course they declined the 5th year option. What are you expecting out of this offensive line and Kelvin Banks in particular?
Repeat that question. You went out.
I said, what do you think about the offensive line this year? By you have four former first round picks on your team. How do you feel about the offensive line coming into this year as well as Kelvin Banks, the rookie?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. Um, and it fall have been saying the whole episode. It falls on Kellen Moore, and I mean that in a good way. And what I mean by that is, um, if you look at Kellen Moore offenses from Dallas to Philadelphia, well, from Dallas to Los Angeles Chargers to Philadelphia, look how much his offensive numbers peaked up from from previous years. So I think his first order of business when he got the job was I don't care about nothing else. I got to get this O line right because what I want to do offensively, I won't be able to do without the O line.
sure.
Any creativity I want to do in the offense, any vision I have of the offense, I can't do it without the offensive line. Now, am I saying that we're going to be the offensive line of the Philadelphia Eagles? No, I'm not saying that. But I think our offense is going to be a whole lot better to where whoever QB1 is, he'll be able to take a 3-step drop, get rid of it, 2-step drop, get rid of it. The offensive line will be able to uphold our quarterback and have some creative blocking schemes for our run game. So I'm very excited to see how the offensive line gonna do because I know Kellen Moore is going to have, even though he's a quarterback and he's going to be the play caller, I believe he's going to have his hands more with the O line and the creativity of the passing and blocking scheme of that than he is anywhere else.
Amon,
Yeah,
what you
go ahead.
go ahead?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, the right off what Coach K said. I know you mentioned Trevor Penning, first round pick, but he has so many issues, penalty issues, holding and personal foul penalties. I know me
Right.
watching a little bit of the Saints game that I did see, it was few far in between, but for what I'm seeing, he had like holding penalties, personal foul penalties. It's like
I, I believe he had 13 penalties last year.
13
Yeah.
accepted penalties last year, and it's like, brother, you a first round pick, man. Like, damn, do we need to slide you in that guard or whatever the case may be?
Right.
And but I just think that Penning, I think it was like pick 20, Larry. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Pick
A couple,
19.
okay, it's close enough. A couple years ago, 2022, maybe 2023, I'm not sure. But I just think they had to move on from him per se. I don't know if he's going to make the roster. He might transition into guard. Coach K, help me with that if I'm wrong. But yeah, they had to move on from the Trevor Penning, and like you said, Coach K, to get
Yeah.
Kellen Moore's vision, you have to get the two bookend tackles. You drafted Talise
Yep.
Fuaga
Yep.
and the top half of the first round last year. You come back and get Kelvin Banks this year. So you have to get younger and cheaper somewhere on that
Yep.
roster. And we all know if you don't have an offensive line that can protect you, whoever your quarterback may be, that you don't have a chance. And I think
Right.
your line has gotten younger in two key spots at two key tackle spots. So that'll
Yeah.
so when I say Tyler Shuck or Spencer Ballard is the guy that you'll have those cornerstone spots on the line set, and you all you have to do is worry about building your interior. But yeah, y'all had to move
Right.
on from Trevor Penny, man. He
Right.
had to do something from him. So I actually see the line being a lot better, only because of the level of talent that Kelvin Banks had coming out of Texas
Right.
last year, and the level of talent that Talise Fuaga had 2 years ago when he was playing with Washington and on that college football national championship run. Ultimately lost to the boys, but
Right.
he was great. When he was in that role that he had. So I definitely agree with you about the offensive line, Coach K.
Hey, Coach, what you think about your draft picks? I got your draft picks sitting up here. In the first round, pick 9, you took Kelvin Banks, of course, from Texas. Second round, pick 40, you took Tyler Shuck out of Louisville. Third round, defensive tackle, pick 71, you took Vernon Broughton from Texas. And then also in the third round, pick 93, you took safety Jonas Sanker from Virginia. In the fourth round, pick 112, you pick Danny Stutzman out of Oklahoma. Also in the fourth round, safety Quincy Riley from Louisville. In the sixth round, pick 184, Devin Neal, who I think is going to be a real steal. That rhyme
Yeah.
from Kansas. And then in the seventh round, pick 248, tight end Moliki Matavao, something like that. Amon, you my
Yeah. Tear it up. Tear it up.
You were right. You were right. You was on it.
okay. From UCLA, and then in the seventh round, pick 254, defensive end Fidel Diggs out of Syracuse. Coach, what other than I'm gonna ask you, what pick excites you most?
Um, I'm gonna say the first round pick. Like I said, after we had Ron R. I can't pronounce his last name. After he retired and we picked that guy up. Um, I feel after I realized, because I was a little upset that we picked the O line in the first round, but I understood it after the guy retired. But I'm going to tell you, the sixth round, 184th pick, running back Devin Neal. I think that's going to be. I think that's going to be a guy that's going to come in, learn as much as he can by Alvin Kamara, and I think, and to be honest, I don't. And and let me say that before I say this. In New Orleans, we have been great assets to running backs. We had Deuce McAllister. We had um, Ricky James. Um, we had Pierre Thomas. We had Darren Sproles.
Darren
We
Sproles,
had
yeah,
Mike.
yeah.
We had Mike Bell. Um, we had. I'm probably missing a few names too. We had C.J. Spiller. We had Mark Ingram. Guy Alvin Kamara. So I
Reggie
just think
Bush.
that whenever Alvin Kamara time is done, we would not miss a beat in the running back department like we are with the quarterbacks. Right now, with the quarterback department, we are having to rebuild that department. Running back, we don't have to. We're not really rebuilding because we had great running backs come through New Orleans that that can be that's diverse in the run game and the pass game. So that would be the most exciting draft pick that I'm definitely looking forward to. Um, and I think you're going to learn a lot from Kamara, and I really do think he's going to like this style of Kellen Moore's offense. So I'm very excited to see what he's going to do.
Hey, Larry, I'm gonna step in for a second. I said if Mickey Loomis can get back in his draft bag, hopefully he can have a draft like he had in 2017. Listen to these: Marshawn Lattimore, Ryan
Yes.
Ramczyk,
Yep.
Marcus Williams, Alvin Kamara, Alex Anzalone, Trey Henderson, pick 103.
All of
Those
those are in the same draft.
same draft. I think that's probably one of the
Yes.
top 5 draft classes of all time. He and every last
For
one of
New
these players
Orleans. Yes. Yes.
he hit on. He might not have hit for New Orleans, but they're hitting the lead. All else from one draft class, brother. One draft class.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when they say when people like the dog Mickey Loomis, I was like, listen, he don't pull some stuff out the hat on his one time, so he might do it again. I just don't know. But
Yeah.
when I seen that a
Yeah.
couple years ago, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Well,
And just think about you know, like those names you said. Out of all those names you just said, um, look at Alex Alonso.
Anzalone,
Yeah,
yeah,
look at him. Look what he have done for Detroit. Look at Trey Henderson. Look what he did for Cincinnati. And if I'm not mistaken, he played in the Super Bowl with Cincinnati.
he
Didn't
did.
win it. He
yeah,
didn't
he
win
did.
it. Didn't win it. But I mean, and if I'm not mistaken, I think he just got himself a long-term deal. I think Bengals just signed him to a extension. It might have been an
Not yet.
extension.
Not
Oh,
yet.
not yet.
He had.
Okay.
Not yet. He not even showing up to camp, but not yet. Hopefully they will though.
Right. So that draft class, like Coach just said right here, that draft class alone, Mickey Loomis and Sean Payton pulled that off. And now we may not have no Super Bowl rings to go for it, but just the big name, they are big names in the league, very big names.
Yeah, I agree with that. Going back to that running back room that you were talking about. So Devin Neal, Kendrick Miller, who's he
Yeah,
can Devin Neal can possibly push him, and then you got Cam Akers, who's like a lottery
yeah. Cam
selected
Akers
leader.
came from the Los
Think he
Angeles
was in
Rams.
Minnesota. I
Yeah, he
wonder
came from
Rams, Minnesota,
yeah,
somewhere. But
yeah. He came from Minnesota. Yeah,
yeah, a couple of injuries. Not what we thought it could be. But I think this running back room, say if Kamara does miss some time, with Devin coming in, I think he's going to make a big contribution. Kendra
yeah.
Miller, you see what you can get out of him, and then if Cam Akers can stay healthy, I mean, you might have some production there.
Right.
Um, so let's go to the defensive side of the ball. It's like, man, we going on an hour just talking mostly about the offense. Uh, Cam Jordan going into I don't know what year, but he's still there. Davon Gacho, I think he came from Miami, and then Kalen Saunders, who was there. I think he was there last year as well. Carl Granderson. You also have Chase Young. You signed him to a
Yeah.
bag.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about this defensive line here?
Um. Over. I
Well,
mean.
let me ask Mon, and then let me jump to you
Okay.
real quick.
Well, what I think about the defensive line is, man, it's like, Cameron Jordan. He's been there
Yeah.
forever, and it's like they, when is this his last year there? Yes, they took a chance on Chase Young coming off his knee, and he's been
Right.
surprisingly decent for them. And I know Coach, help me if I'm wrong, he got rewarded with another bag this offseason. I think like 3 years, 51 million or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So kudos to him. But other than Chase Young, if he can live up to being the number 2 overall pick a couple years ago, then you might have something. But outside of Cam Jordan, are there any pass rushers that's young that's coming through the New Orleans Pike that you see any promising potential in? Because I really don't. And Coach, help me if I'm wrong. You know
Um.
better than I do.
To be honest, I I really don't, and I felt like Chase Young would be like the younger Cam Jordan when we first got him, but we all saw how that go because if I'm not mistaken, I think they set him out. I think Dennis Allen's had to be the head coach. They set him out because he gave up on one play and they set him out during the game. Um, I think no, I don't see it. Not saying that we can't have it or we don't have it, but that's just going to come off the energy of Cam Jordan. If Cam Jordan can lead these young guys on the defensive line, um, I think we can see a real good off defensive push this year. But that also comes to Brandon Staley, who is our defensive coordinator. He's a hell of a defensive coordinator, a bad head coach.
Man,
Dennis
let me
Allen.
say, shoot, Brandon Staley.
Dennis, yeah, Dennis Allen. Hell of a defensive coordinator, bad head coach. So I am excited about Brandon Staley. I mean, just look at the numbers he had as a defensive coordinator when he was with San Diego and the San Francisco 49ers. Just look at those numbers. Um, how he was before he became the head man in charge. So I am excited about I was head scratching on Brandon Staley, but I'm excited to see how this defense is. I think he will get this defense back, and I'm not going to say top 10, top. I'm going to say either top 10, top 15. I mean top 20, top 15.
Amon, you remember the numbers I think I sent you as far as dead cap
Yeah,
going
I
into
got you, bro.
2026 to for them not to be on the roster next year. Taysom Hill 9.7 million, Cameron Jordan 18 million, Demario Davis 14 million. Not to mention the 36.6 million that you're paying Derek Carr. Oh, Tyron Matthew just retired today. I don't know
Yeah,
if he's still getting that 9.2. And then you still paying Ryan Ramczyk 12 million going into next year. Like that's how long these contracts have been. How they've been stretching them out. So to answer to go back off what Coach was saying, I think I do. I see some potential here with Vernon Broden and seeing what he can bring, as well as Fidel Diggs. You don't know what you're gonna get out of those late round picks, and then like Danny Stutzman coming behind Demario Davis. Demario Davis going to the last year of his contract, as well as Cam Jordan. So you gotta start getting younger anyway. And then Brian, what's his name,
Rasheed,
Brissett.
Brian
Yeah,
Rasheed.
Brian Brissett, I believe he led the team in sacks last year. So, and then going down to the secondary with Kool Aid McKinstry, and then Alontae Taylor on the other side. It could be a nice little duo right there.
Yeah,
yeah,
Kool Aid.
I like Kool Aid, bro.
I do too. I really like Kool Aid. After some of the games that I saw last year, he remind me of Marshawn Lattimore a little bit. He got somewhat of his aggressiveness and playing style.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't know.
He come from
Go ahead.
Alabama, so Nick Saban. Hey, three
Yeah,
things: if you can't play man coverage, you can't play middle of the field, and you can't tackle, you're not getting on the field at all. So
right,
I like Kool-Aid, but he had a foot injury coming out of school, so that's why he dropped to the second round.
right,
Last year, man. So hopefully he can have a bounce back year and can
right.
stabilize one of the corner spots for the Saints defense. Sorry, Larry. Go ahead, brother.
Don't know why the hell Justin Reed signed with the Saints, to be honest. And I'm not trying to down the Saints, but it's just he's coming off of, postseason, back-to-back postseason, years. So unless the bag was involved there, it just didn't make sense to me. But here's the kicker, though. They signed Isaac Iadon, who I
Yo,
mean,
boy.
yeah,
Yo, boy.
we drafted him. I don't know what year. I think it was like 2016, 20. It was one of those years. But who was the other corner that you guys had last year that went to the Giants? I want to say.
Uh,
Uh, it's
I know
who
who
is
you. I know exactly who you're talking about. I can't ring his name. I know exactly who you're talking about.
They went to the
Oh
Paulson
my.
Adebo. So
Yeah, yeah,
Paulson Adebo, I believe, went to New York, right?
yeah.
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 I forget the numbers on the deal, but you let Paulson Adebo walk just to sign Isaac Iadon. That could probably go in as one of the worst free agent signings. You let that guy walk out the door. I
But
didn't
once,
understand
but
that.
once again, like I was saying, Larry, we know how. Look at what you're saying. You said all this dead money they got. They got that stuff tied up. They can't. That's money that they can't free up and use to get other players. So that's what I'm saying about Mickey Loomis, about
Yeah,
kicking these contracts down the road and kicking these cans down the road instead of just biting a bullet, getting younger and getting youthful on both sides of the ball, and just starting to rebuild over. When you give out bad, I'm not gonna say they bad contracts because I want all players to get paid, get your money while you can because it's
Right.
NFL staff, but not for long. But when you give out these contracts that kind of don't make sense with your timeline of where your team is as a whole, you get people like Paulson Adebo that leaves and gets a bigger bag from the Giants now. Paulson Adebo probably played great for the Saints last year. I'm not sure, but there's a reason why
Right.
he's not there. Maybe they didn't have the allocated funds for him to get what he was asking for on the open market.
that's true.
Right. Right. That's true.
Uh,
That's true.
let's go schedule.
Yes, sir. My favorite part.
So week 1, you're at home against the Cardinals. Week 2, you're still at home. You face San Francisco. Week 3, you go on the road to Seattle. Week 4, you still on the road. You face Buffalo. Week 5, you're at home against the Giants. Week 6, you're at home against the Patriots. Week 7, you go on the road to Chicago. Week 8, you're still at home against. Well, you're back at home now against the Buccaneers division game. That's the first division game? Wow. Uh, the week after that, you go on the road to face the Rams. The Panthers after that are also on the road. Then you face the Falcons at home. Then you go on the road to Miami. Luckily, you don't have to play Miami in September. You play them in November. Uh, and then you go on the road to Tampa Bay. Then you're back at home against Carolina. Still at home against the Jets. Before hitting the road again against Tennessee. And before finishing the last game up on the road in Atlanta. That's not a bad schedule if they got of course they got the 4-play schedule, but that's not a bad schedule.
No, it's not. It's not.
What you think about the schedule, Amon?
You already know how I feel about the schedule, and like I said, coach, no disrespect to the Saints or whatever. That's your mob. I understand it, but I don't know, man. It's like I said, it's a 4th place schedule. It's not a bad schedule,
No,
but
it's not.
it's not a bad schedule, but my question is, what's the floor of this football team? The talent on both sides of the ball. You got players like Chris Olave, Alvin Kamara, Raheed Shaheed, guys like that. And on the defensive side of the ball, man, you gotta start turning the clock to this youth movement. We know, Cameron Jordan's been there for a while. We know Demario Davis been there since I was like in fifth grade. But it's like, do you what type of win improvement do you have? Your expectations from last year to this year? You're picking in the top 10 last year. Do you think that you're going to be picking in the top 10 again? If so, we're looking at maybe 4 or 5 wins, maybe 6 wins max, or do you think they can probably hit another level with Kellen Moore coming over and raising the floor of this offense just off his philosophies and coaching style alone? So I really see the Saints probably just going through the year. Kellen Moore getting his system right, his players in the building, as you said, Coach K, getting his guys in, making sure that the organization is acclimated to what he wants to do. Maybe maybe struggle this year. I could be wrong. And then next year, when he has a full draft and a full offseason, because he came late into the offseason, by the way, being a head coach, to get his scouting department in, et cetera, et cetera. So I think this year will probably be a tough year for the Saints, because either you're going to be having Tyler Shough starting as a rookie, or you're going to have Spencer Rattler starting as a second year quarterback with a new OC, new head coach. So it could be some learning curves and adjustments. So I just see the Saints having a struggle year this year, and then next year when you get a full offseason on his belt, hey, they might be the kings of the NFC South, in 2026. Who knows?
Right.
Coach.
Well, I don't want to say I'm biased or anything. I see, and the reason why I'm saying this, I see New Orleans. I see New Orleans between a 6 to 8 win team, and the reason why I say that is because I think some of these games we're going to see flashes of what Kellen Moore have been doing as a play caller throughout his years of coaching. I think that the games that we supposed to lose, I think those gonna be the games that we shock people and win. And I think the games that we supposed to win might be a game we still win, might be a game we lose. But I see Kellen Moore winning 6 to 8 games this year, and I'm gonna tell y'all something we didn't talk about earlier. But the best thing Miss Benson said during Kellen Moore interview was, and her sentence was, I could be quoting it wrong, but her tone was time. We're gonna give Kellen Moore time and the resources he needs to get this program back right. So, I do think Kellen Moore is in it for the long haul. He might be there as long as Sean Payton do, but like Miss Benson said, she gonna give Kellen Moore the full access, the full resources to whatever he needs to do to turn this program around, whatever he needs to do to get this organization back to winning ways. It's going to take time. So, do I see Kellen Moore winning 4 or 5 games? I really don't see that based off the new energy and the excitement from the players and the veteranship he got on his coaching staff. I don't see 4 or 5 wins. I do see between 6 to 8. Hell, he might surprise me and they might win 9 or 10 and sneak into the playoff.
You
Who
ain't
knows?
lying. You ain't
But
lying. You surprised the hell out of me too, boy.
I think a lot of people I'm just using this guy for example. I think a lot of people is going to sleep on Kellen Moore. And I think veteran guys like Kyle Shanahan, like I to this day, Kyle Shanahan should have 3 Super Bowl rings. He should be, ready to move on from San Francisco. But he's not because he hasn't won the big game yet. So I think guys like Kyle Shanahan is going to I think they will have to like pretty much bring their A game against um Kellen Moore, knowing that okay, he a young offensive mind, he know what he doing. He may be a first year head coach, but he know exactly what he's doing. I think a lot of these veteran guys is going to sleep on Kellen Moore, and I think a lot of teams is going to sleep on him, and just not give him credit for the things he do as a play caller, as his creativeness and stuff like that. So I do see the Saints winning between 6 to 8, which I think as a first year head coach, rookie head coach, I think that's a successful season to me. That's what I think.
Well, we shall see what happens as far as the win totals for the Saints. My players to watch Alontae Taylor, Chris Olave, and Brian Brissy, seeing what he can do on the defensive line. And then my rookies to watch, very simple, Tyler Shuck and then Danny Stutzman, seeing if, Demario Davis, as I said earlier, is, going into contract year, he's getting a little older and, that defense got to get a little younger too. So, we'll see what happens. Let's go forward. Let's real quick. Um, Alvin Kamara had 1,400 yards from scrimmage, from rushing and receiving. This is four less.
Hey, Larry, are you breaking up a little bit, brother?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, you still breaking up. Yeah, you still breaking up.
yeah,
But yeah, coach, yeah, I know Larry has some of his players to watch. You good now, Larry? He might be coming back in. Still breaking up a little bit. Um, but I know, like I said, Larry had a couple players to watch. I know Alontae Taylor was one of his. A couple of mine that I'm looking forward to see is the rookies,
right,
Kelvin Banks, Talise Fawaga. I want to see, either who's going to be the starter, Spencer Rattler or either Tyler Shuck. And I want to see Kool-Aid McKinstry and some of those young pieces on the defensive side of the ball take another step forward. And like well as I do, Coach, that Saints team is pretty old. It's an older
yeah,
roster. Like I said, some of the youth movement has to come in and replenish his roster and get through so y'all can get through these hardships that you guys have with these contracts. So, brother Larry, you back? Can you hear me, Larry? Yeah, you still choppy a little bit. Yeah, you still choppy a little bit, but nevertheless, um, Larry, if you want me to move on to the next segment more or less. Okay.
yeah,
No, it's still a little choppy.
yeah,
Yeah, but I'm gonna do a couple players, coach. Let me get you up out here. I know you got to get home. So we're gonna assume Alvin Kamara, his touchdowns and touchdowns and rushing yards. I think he had 950 rushing yards last year.
Uh-huh.
Do you see more or less in rushing yards and touchdowns than he had in 2024?
With Kellen Moore creativity and the run game, I do see more. I think we'll see the Alvin Kamara of. I think we'll see the Alvin Kamara under Deshaun Payton. I think we'll see that version back. I really do think we'll see that version back.
Okay. All right. And I'm going to receiving wise. I know this young man, Chris Olave, season got cut short. Uh, over or under, and I know you could probably say over for both, over or under 32 receptions and 400 yards for Chris Olave in 2025.
And you talk about 30. Well, yeah, over for a whole season. I do.
Yeah.
I see Chris Olave probably getting in the between 700 and 900 range. I really do
Okay.
see that. I see that, and the only reason why I see that is because he still will be the top guy in New Orleans, but with the ball being spread around with different assets that we got on the team, especially with Brandon Cooks and Rashard Shaheed, and then mixing in Taysom Hill and that type of stuff. Um, yeah, I do see him between the 700 and 900 receiving range.
Okay. And I got, and let's get Larry back in. Brother, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, man.
There you go, boss
Okay,
man.
there you go.
So I did, and I don't know if I might have stole your thunder. I did more or less with I did it with Chris Olave, receptions and receptions and receiving yards. Coach said more because he's going to have going to be healthier for more than 4 games or whatever he played. And then we did Alvin Kamara rush yards more or less than 950 something and whatever touchdowns he had. So what do you want to add to that? I probably took 2 of your players up already. So
No, you good, brother. Great job. Brian Bassi, 7.5 sacks last year, led the team. Does he get more or less than 7.5?
Um, I'm gonna say he get less than that. I think he's gonna get less than that.
Okay, I'm on.
yeah, I'm gonna say I like I'm gonna go on a quick tangent. I'm going on a quick tangent. I like Brian Brzee coming out of Clemson. I thought he was a big impactful guy in the middle of that defense. I expect Brzee to take another jump this year. I'm gonna say he has more than that. I'm gonna say I don't know what Dexter Lawrence maybe had last year. I'm not saying he's Dexter Lawrence or any of those guys like that, but I expect him to have around 8-9 sacks this year. So I'm gonna say more in his sack department for Brian Brzee.
Um, you had all right. Pete Warner, 92 tackles. This is a big year for him coming up. He had played 13 games last year. Does he get more or less than 92?
You can go.
Um, he played 13 games, had 92. Um, I'm gonna go with. I think he's gonna get more. I really do. I think you're gonna get more than 92 this year.
Okay, I'm on.
Yeah, I'm gonna say more than 92 as well. Coach, I don't know if this is a contract season for him or not. Um, it may be. I'm not really sure, but I'm gonna say I like Pete Warner. He's a solid
Right.
tackler.
Yeah.
He's always in the right place at the right time. So I'm gonna say more than 92. I say he have a career year and probably get that 107 to 114 range.
Right. Yep. I agree with you on that.
Feel like he been there forever, right?
For real.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then coach, the last one, Jordan Howden. He had 2 interceptions last year. Does he get more or less than 2 interceptions this year?
Um, I'm gonna say he get more than that. I'm gonna get. I say he gonna get more than that. You know, like I was saying, with Brandon Staley's defense, that the energy that he's going to bring to this defense. Um, I think this defense is going to be flying around. I think they're going to be swarming to the ball. I think they're going to be, balls to the wall defensively. I really do.
Coach Coach White kind of got on you a little bit. He was like, "Come on, Coach." Yeah, he commented on the on the live stream. So it's something you had to check out when
Hey,
you when we get
tell
off here.
him, tell him to worry about his Steelers, okay? Because he got old man Rogers there, and he better hope that Rogers can bring out the Rogers from the Green Bay Packer days.
I'm sure he's gonna be watching and looking back at it. But Coach, we're gonna go ahead and get you on up out of here, man. Get you home. And I appreciate you coming on the show. And good luck to the Lincoln Middle School Jaguars this year. Wish y'all all the best of luck.
Appreciate it, man. Hey, look, I mean, I don't know if y'all have enough time, but I enjoyed this. I really enjoyed this. If y'all want to do it again, and I know it's not a big thing, but if y'all want to do it again, where maybe me and two of my players be on the podcast and we just talk about the Lincoln Jaguars before our home opener. That's something that we'll do, and I'll just get up with two players and we'll go somewhere at like a restaurant or something, and we'll just do a podcast with you guys and talk about the home opener and the energy and all that. So y'all let me know what y'all want to do. I'll set it up, but I love stuff like this. I love it, so I'm all in on it. um I'm all in on it. So
All right, man. All right, no doubt, Coach. Man, appreciate you again. And when that time comes, we definitely be reaching out to you, brother.
yes sir, yes sir.
My boy Mon, you got anything else to add tonight?
No, man. Great episode. Good insight on the Saints that like I say, it's part of the organization I really don't follow that much. But great insight from Coach up here. And I think tomorrow we'll be covering the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I think we're going to Atlanta.
Atlanta, and then we're doing Tampa. I know either way we go, one of them's going to get covered tomorrow. But yeah, great episode, great informational episode about the Saints. Coach, thank you again for coming on. Sorry for coming in late. It's been a long day.
You're fine. Thank you all. Thank you
Yeah,
guys.
that's all I got, Larry.
All right, guys. Until tomorrow when we see you for Atlanta.